Oh, no. Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie. This is Wrestling Color Podcast right here on YouTube. Make sure you thumbs up the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join in the conversation because I do talk to y'all in the comments and cuss your ass out if I need to. Aha, let's fight. Make sure you follow me on the little platforms that's on the banner, and that's ever changing. And make sure you check out Shit to Sugar Podcast, my new political, African American centered, Negro American centered podcast on all things going on in the world. Things that I want to talk about that I'm not really trying to talk about here because this is a wrestling centered podcast that is centered around the Black American specifically experience and all other ethnicities that follow. So, what are we here for? Well, there's this conversation that goes on in this wrestling group that I'm in. And the conversation seems really silly to me. It seems really stupid, but it's conversation, right? So AEW Dynamite happened, and we saw some people that are familiar pop up on the scene at the Dynamite. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm all excited about what I've seen and who has been popping up on the Dynamite, but I will say good for them. They're working. They're doing something they love. It's their craft, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, who are we talking about? Well, we saw Adrian Andrews, one half of the Funkadactyls, show up to be in the women's tournament for the number one contender for the women's championship, which will be taking place on the internet. It won't be on live. Now that says a lot. You could take it both ways. You could say that says a lot about the women's division in AEW, or they're trying to use their AEW Dark as a second television show because a lot of their storylines start on AEW Dark. So if you just watching Dynamite, you're not like knowing what's going on. So this isn't going to be long because it's an exhausted conversation. I think it's stupid. My thoughts on this: as any job, if you leave a job and go to another job, then it is what it is. It's like if you work at Sprint and you worked at Sprint for 20 years and finally you said I had enough of Sprint, and then you say goodbye to all your loyal customers and you say goodbye and everybody's like bye, and then 2 weeks later a person walks into the AT&T store and there you are, and they're like, well, what the fuck are you doing here? How dare you leave Sprint and go to the AT&T store? Or you have no loyalty? It's like, when stars leave, when superstars leave, when wrestlers leave, where do y'all think they go? To hell? I understand it's Impact and New Japan and all these other places, but these are grown ass people and they could go where they want to go. And they want to go where there's going to be some money, where there's going to be some exposure, where they can build their stock. A lot of these people that I'm seeing on these rosters, I don't see on Dynamite, and I have to watch AEW After Dark to see them. And the one thing that Adrian Andrews does bring to the women's division, if in fact she is signed, is another black woman outside of Big Swole and Brandy Rhodes. I'm not adding Nyla Rose, so please just move on from that. Another visibly black woman, not an ambiguous biracial woman, okay? Take it how you want. Don't get mad. It is what it is. All right, so let's see. I'm looking at the AEW roster, and we're just gonna pull out all of the former WWE wrestlers, and we're gonna just see where they're at this particular point. Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose. We see he is the title holder. Has his title run been great? No, it's been some bump in the roads with the COVID, and that's probably the main issue. I don't think he really was able to do that title the way it needs to be done. Most likely is going to be taken off of him. The TNT the TNT title champion is Cody Rhodes. Now you remember Stardust and all of that. Now Cody is doing very well. He is probably one of the biggest faces of the company. Can't complain about that. We got Mr. Brody Lee. You know what? I completely forgot his name in WWE. One of y'all tell me what his name was down in WWE. Because he couldn't do a southern accent, because he's a big white man with a big beard, and Vince McMahon just knew that this man could act like a yokel. He just was not utilized properly. And you all said that he's a great wrestler and he needs to be utilized. Well, Brody Lee is now the head of the Dark Order. I do like his suits. He looks really clean. He needs to be. I think he needs to be a little bit more ominous as the head of the Dark Order. I would actually say that I still think Matt Hardy should have been the head of the Dark Order, but that whatever. It's not like they can't change it. They're literally changing storylines as the show progresses. The FTW champion, which I'm still trying to know what the FW. I don't know what that is. World. I don't know what FTW champion is. I don't. But I don't even know why. Even because Brian Cage, I don't think was in the WWE. But I don't know what that championship is. Anyway, Chris Jericho. No need to even get into that. Cash Wheeler, one half of the for the Revival, out there giving you some damn good tag team wrestling. I'll tell you that. Um, Boo, boo, boo. Who else we got? Dustin Rhodes, a part of the Natural Nightmares family. He's with his brother. What can you say? I'm sure Dusty, their dad, is happy about that. Dax Harwood, I just told you the other half of the Revival, out here doing what he need to do, not playing games. Um, Jake Hager was in the WWE. Really, nothing came of that, and he's kind of really still doing the same thing. Not that saying nothing's came of it, but he serves his purpose as a muscle, or in wrestling terms, a heavy. Uh, every time I see Lance Archer, I think of, oh my god, the Black Mask. Oh, Aleister Black. I don't know. Lance Archer just looks like Aleister Black for me. And I think Lance Archer and Aleister Black would have some good matches because Lord knows I don't know what Aleister Black's doing. But anyway, Matt Hardy, he actually has decided that he really wasn't doing what he needed to do with this Woken character, which I was never into. Um, so he has now somehow started a feud with the sect of the Spanish sex god Guerrero guy. I forgot his first name. Um, some would say his appearance and debut hasn't been all that successful, but the same way Brandy Rose has had two fucked up situations, and now she's in a tag team with the Bunny. I don't even know why the Bunny left the Butch and the Blade. Whatever. Maybe I missed something. One of y'all could tell me in the comments. Um, let's see what this reboot for Matt Hardy does now. Broken Matt Hardy. Let's see what's going on with that now. Um, and we keep going. Pac has not been around. I think it's because of the visa issue and because of the COVID, and he's in his country. Not sure. But when the Death Triangle finally gets together, oh my god, I actually love the Death Triangle with the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon, and Phoenix. I like the Death Triangle. I wish they called them like the Death Daggers or something, make it even more juicy and nasty. I liked it. Um, Sean Spears, he's 8-2, so his record's way better than what it was at WWE. He's serving his purpose. I think he's doing a pretty decent job is getting on TV and getting over. Um, looking at the ladies, don't think any besides outside of Brandy Rhodes, who's always gonna have favor in reboots because of who she is. She seems to have found her footing with Allie, aka the Bunny. Now, if anybody can tell me why she left, I'm still Why she's not with the Butcher, I would love to know. Um, I think that's it. Where Yuka Sakazaki's at? I liked her. She reminds me of that video game girl from Soul Calibur. I still don't remember the fucking woman's name. Even Dasha Gonzalez was a commentator or a reporter for the WWE. She's out there now, and you know Jim Ross has his moments, and Taz then came over, and he reminds me literally of Samoa Joe. And Billy Gunn, I like what he said. I like when he was in that one episode and the guy came up to me. He said some shit, and Billy Gunn was like, "I am white power." I don't even know what episode that was. And then Tully Blanchard, he need to get a hold of his daughter because I better not see Crimson Chin in the fucking AEW. I don't even know how I would feel about that. So anyway, we just saw Mr. Zack Ryder. I listen. Although I did know his call and response, I was never a Zack Ryder fan. I'm just gonna be all the way real. But it's good to see Matt Cardona doing her thing, doing his thing. He looks jacked. He looks really tanned. He looks like he's ready to go. And kick some ass. And then we also saw Cameron in the WWE, Adrian Andrews. Now the problem I'm having with Cameron, because Zack Ryder still got them fingers, that them Mick Foley fingers is what I call them. He's still doing that pose or whatever that's supposed to mean. Adrian Andrews is literally the same character she was in the WWE, but I'm curious to see how her wrestling has changed. But she has, if in fact she is a part of the AEW women's roster, it would bring another black woman representation to the forefront. That's great. But if she's doing like the WWE has tournaments and let people come as invitationals and stuff like that, just to put a hot body and kind of build it up and make it look fun, that's cool too. But it would be nice just to have to add another black woman. Now, I do know Chanel. What is her name? Oh my God, Chanel. She was wrestling on AEW Dark. I gotta get her name. Oh my goodness, because that shit was so funny. She goes by the name Rach Chanel, and her ad is La Fashionista on Twitter. She was wrestling. What's her Haruko Ashida? Is that how you pronounce it? With an AEW Women's Champion, and this bitch went and got a comb out her bag and combed Haruko's hair in the middle of the ring, and she was rough, and that shit was funny as hell. I don't know if she signed, but it did bring a little bit of color and sass. And that's the one thing I tell you, when you get these black wrestlers, they have their own way of just bringing out stuff you just wouldn't expect. Some of y'all was like, well, that's stupid. I saw that. I thought the shit was funny. I put it on my Instagram. That shit was funny. She was combing the fuck out of her hair. Ray Chanel. I don't know if she's signed to AEW, but I would love to see more of her. And I'm following her and I'm trying to see more of who she is so I could do a spotlight on Rach Chanel. And I might actually do a spotlight on Cameron. I'm not sure if she's back in the wrestling scene. It's good to at least get to know the woman, right? All right. Well, this was a short one. I guess I just wanted to say that I'm happy that these stars are where they are and they're able to work and do their thing and do something they love. That's a blessing to anyone, right? So this was the exchange that was on this wrestling group I'm in. It says the post was, and AEW continues to fill up with WWE rejects. Now everyone's like agreeing and giggling and stuff, and it says, when you ask mom for something, she says no, then you run to your pops because he's gonna say yes. He thinks that's what AEW is now. And then somebody says, so when Impact does it, it's great. And then the next response was, and WWE is full of Ring of Honor, Impact, and Indie rejects. I don't know why y'all calling these people rejects, because the shit that they're doing, a majority of us are not doing. We're just complaining and making points. And I'm going to say that myself. To be a wrestler, to be physical like this is not easy. And they want to work. So somebody said, who gives a shit? I love seeing guys having options and opportunities that they didn't before. I swear, some wrestling fans are never satisfied. I like seeing Matt Cardona. I like seeing EC3 cut these badass, thought-provoking promos. Even though the Dark Order is wonky, it's cool seeing Brody Lee in a suit and talking instead of looking like a hillbilly wild man. Didn't I just say that? It shows he has range. It's cool seeing FTR, aka The Revival, being taken seriously in an already highly competitive tag team division. It's good seeing undervalued ex-WWE guys on TV getting paid and being involved instead of just chilling and catering and dying to talk to Vince at TV. Yeah. Think of it this way. Restaurant GMs work at several restaurants as a GM. There are a few GMs that stay with that company forever. It's always a revolving door. That really sums it up. I mean, somebody was like, so you don't want Zack Ryder to make money? Then they said, send your complaints to whoever you want to complain. And I said, so what they supposed to do when they leave? When people start working, are they supposed to go to hell? This isn't 1997 when it was just WWE and WCW. It's more going on. There's ML, a Major League Wrestling, is a wrestling promotion out in South Africa. There's Impact. There's AEW. New Japan has always been popular. I watch New Japan clips, and that I like that wrestling. That's some stiff ass wrestling, and it makes sense because the people that's coming out of New Japan, they could take a lot of beatings. Um, Somebody said, "Well, why is that a bad thing? What are they supposed to do? Not wrestle no more?" And so we went back and forth, and I'm gonna read what we said, and then I'm gonna end it at that because I don't know what this guy's talking about. So he said they supposed to go to Impact. I said at AEW or New Japan or wherever they want to go, and he said if you have not been paying attention, they're running to AEW to get at WWE. All that he needs a job crap is foolishness. These people do work. Wrestling is not as popular as we like to believe. Literally, there's probably 3 million wrestling fans. That is all that is the when they talk about these ratings, NXT and AEW pulls in together, if you add them up, 1.2, the most for both shows. And I don't even think they break a million. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes 8, sometimes 9. They're not a million people watching these shows. WWE is holding at 1.6, and even on a good day, 2, 3 point something. Wrestling isn't as popular as we think it is. It's because we talk about wrestling all the time. We think it's so fucking popular. It's really not. So I said, okay, if that was the case, so what? So what that Matt Cardona is on AEW? He got upset and told me to go about my business. I said, well, I am, but can you tell me why you're having an issue with people leaving WWE and going to AEW? And he said, where did I say I have an issue? I started something I seen last night in a wrestling chat. Do you know they preach their goal is to not do that, and that's exactly what they're doing? Then someone said to me, you can't badmouth the biggest wrestling company in the world, even if they make a joke and and fire you for absolutely no reason. And he's talking about WWE abuses their workers. And then the guy who wrote the post said, no reason, you live in Mars. Are we not in a pandemic? They got laid off. Exactly. I said, you know what? They fucked over Zack Ryder real good. I guess he was supposed to go to Impact. And ran to be with AEW to be with his friend Cody. In a few weeks, he's going to take the belt right from him. And who cares? That was the end of that. The guy is, a lot of them is just like, why is he here? I just want people to eat. I want people to eat. And if you're going to entertain me, do what you love. It is a blessing if you can do what you love and make money with it. That's it. I'm going to leave it there. Tell me what you think in the comments. what are wrestlers supposed to do when they leave? I think I talked about this before in a previous podcast, but we're gonna visit it today because a lot of these wrestlers are showing up every which way, and it's kind of exciting. It's fun to say, "Hey, look!" Right? All right, this is Wrestling Color Podcast. Hit me up in the comments. Bye.